This week, we've seen increasing calls to reassess the age of consent laws and social norms. It's in light of allegations against the comedian and actor Russell Brand, including a woman alleging that the star sexually assaulted her when she was 16 and he was in his 30s. Mr. Brand denies any wrongdoing, which brings me to this week's Jewel. Now, obviously, we won't be speculating with regards to the allegations against Mr. Brand, but we will be talking about the topic in general. And joining me more broadly to discuss this matter of the age of consent laws and should we reassess them, we have the UK Director of Common Sense Society, Emma Webb, and the former Labour Party MP, Stephen Pound. Stephen, let's start with you, because Emma's a bit floppy on this topic, it seems. The age of consent. Should we reassess it?
No, we shouldn't. We have to have a line there. But look, the single most important thing is the individual morality of the person and the family.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what it means is that I think everybody would accept the fact that promiscuous sex under the, when you're a teen, when you're 13, 14 or 15 is bad. I think we can accept that. It's physically bad, it's mentally bad.
I think everyone in this room would accept that, but I don't think everyone
If we can do that. So the idea is that when this legislation went through the House, and I was there at the time, we decided that it wasn't absolutely purely a Manichaean black and white issue. There were certain ones. For example, a teacher who has sexual relations with a student who may be over 16 is still breaking the law because he or she, in many cases, in fact, she is in a position of authority. So the law is sufficiently nuanced to deal with those strange cases. I think if I may say so without insulting you, your very well balanced exegesis on the earlier subject actually shows how sometimes we can make law in haste and repent, obviously in leisure. I think in this particular case, for various reasons, if you look at the rest of Europe, I mean, it was 14 in Portugal, even younger in Poland. We've got an agreement in this country, and I think 16 is a reasonable age, with the exceptions for people in a position of authority. And if we start changing it either upwards, it's unenforceable. We're not going to have a police officer in the bedroom. It's not going to be enforceable. If we take it in the other direction, I'm sorry, that worries me.
I agree it's not enforceable, but I think it's about setting a societal standard. Emma, I think, we raised the age of buying tobacco from, was it 15 before? It's now 18. The age to drive is 17, the age to drink is 18. Should we not be raising the age of sex to a similar matter? It
obviously is a problem that there is a disparity between the age of consent sexually and the legal age of becoming an adult.
Right.
The reason why, and I know that you said that this is being floppy, but I think it's being prudent and realistic. I don't think that there will be a lot of appetite amongst the British public, given that the age of consent has been 16 for some time now. And that is something that is established in people's minds. I don't think that there would be much appetite for actually criminalising young people between the ages of 16 and 18 for having sex with one another. I think that there is, when I saw this suggestion in this week's press, I think that there is a reasonable argument to be made for that sort of staggering approach. It seems sensible to me that that consent could be sort of like bracketed off 16 to 18 and then above. Right. And I can see how you might be able to, as Stephen was saying, there's already some nuance in the original legislation on this, that there could be some grounds to extending that provision for not allowing consent between, say, a 16-year-old and somebody in a position of authority, like a teacher or somebody who's in some other kind of position of authority over them, extending that to all adults over the age of 18. So it's also about balancing this with the fact that people have already got the age of consent as 16 very much baked into their minds. What is it that you think that the British public would be likely to accept? I don't think the British public would be likely to accept the wholesale blanket criminalising of sexual relations between the ages of 16 and 18. But I do see where you're coming from, Calvin, which is that we should be discouraging, and I don't think it's something for the law. I think that it is a much stronger case to try and make the case through culture that people under the age of 18, maybe even people under the age of 20, should not be engaging in promiscuous activity with one another, that it's unwise to do so. But I don't think it's something that you can, use legislation as a tool to try and...
Emma, one thing that is absolutely terrifying, I was a governor of a primary school for many, many years. That's, children from sort of 3 or 4 up to the age of 11. I saw 10-year-old children looking at hardcore pornography on their telephones. Hardcore. I mean, this is really nasty stuff. And inevitably, they start, thinking, can we participate in this? And I think we have a real issue. I used to say, where are the parents in this? Where are the guardians in this? Where are the religious leaders? Who is actually helping these children? Because if you allow people simply to actually take that path of instant gratification, then you cause a lot of hurt. And we already know this huge number of unwanted pregnancies in very, very young children, young women in their 15, 16, 17 years old. I think it's really, really difficult. Now, it's very easy for a person of my age who's, if you've got the age of consent, I'm probably past the age of participation, to be perfectly honest. But, it's easy for someone like me to pontificate. But I think I have the right, just as Father Robinson has, to actually say, look, this is where I stand. I can do no other. This is my position of morality. And I think I cannot believe that anybody honestly actually believes that legal sexual actions under the age of 16 are in anybody's interests.
You make a good point, and we'll come to this topic later, but of that age bracket of 16-year-olds, 60% of pregnancies actually end in abortion at the moment, so there's certainly an issue to be raised further along the lines.